Breaking news. America just watched.
Enforcement sources have been telling us that this gunshot was fired from a rooftop a short distance away, or about 150 yards away from the courtyard where Charlie Kirk was speaking. And we have some videos of what appear to be a person on that particular rooftop. So I'm going to play this. I want your eye line to be up here by the roof because it's a little bit hard to see. And as we play this, the camera pans, and then you see that dot right there, heading in the other direction away from where Charlie Kirk was speaking. I'm going to play it one more time.
Chaos unfold in real time. Imagine this. Thousands gathered inside Utah Valley University, phones raised, lights flashing, Charlie Kirk pacing the stage with his trademark fire.
Oh my God. Go, run! Oh.
And then, in a single deafening instant, bang! A gunshot slices through the cheers, the microphone clatters, and Kirk collapses mid-sentence, clutching his neck as blood stains his shirt. The crowd doesn't just gasp, they panic. Screams ripple across the arena as people rush for the exits, shoving chairs, trampling one another, desperate to escape. But here's the horrifying part. Within minutes, violent footage of the attack floods every platform. TikTok edits loop the exact second Kirk staggers. Twitter, X, explodes with hashtags like Pray for Charlie and Stage Assassination. Instagram lives replay the moment fans sob, whispering, "We thought we were going to die." The internet isn't just watching, they're spiraling. And yet, this was no random act. Witnesses swear they saw shadows moving on the roof long before Kirk even spoke. A cryptic tweet hours earlier warned, "The silence after tonight will be louder than the shot." And now, insiders claim a chilling note was found near the exit, one that suggests Kirk wasn't the only target. Because if Charlie Kirk was the first domino, who falls next? To understand why the shocking attack on Charlie Kirk has shaken America to its core, we need to rewind and look at the storm of controversy, confrontation, and conflict that has followed him for years. Because this wasn't just a random tragedy. It felt like the climax of a battle that had been building, headline after headline, speech after speech, threat after threat. Charlie Kirk is not just another commentator. He is the co-founder of Turning Point USA, a conservative organization that built its reputation by targeting college campuses and waging cultural battles in lecture halls, conference centers, and arenas across the country. For his supporters, he's a warrior, a truth-teller, a man who never backs down. For his critics, he's a provocateur, someone who thrives on stirring division and basking in the outrage that follows. And that polarizing reputation made him both admired and dangerously vulnerable. Think about his countless confrontations on college tours. Kirk thrived on them. He'd invite students to challenge him, and those moments, clips of heated exchanges, insults hurled, and Kirk firing, back with sharp retorts, flooded YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. They brought him fame, yes, but also a growing army of detractors. Each viral video wasn't just a win for his brand, it was also a neon sign painting a target on his back. Insiders close to Kirk admit that the threats have been escalating for years. Anonymous emails, threatening letters, and even whispers during events became routine. By 2024, according to one staffer, he was receiving dozens of death threats every week. Most were brushed off as noise. Trolls, angry students, keyboard warriors. But some of them were chillingly specific. One email allegedly read, "You won't see next year's stage lights." Another warned, "Your comeback tour will be your last tour." His team kept moving forward, but those words haunted them. And yet, Kirk leaned into the danger. He branded his latest string of rallies as the American Comeback Tour, a bold declaration that he wasn't afraid. Stop after stop, he walked into rooms filled with both cheering fans and furious protesters. Security was always there, but never enough to erase the tension buzzing through every hall. And at Utah Valley University, where the attack happened, the energy was off from the start. Witnesses later said the crowd felt restless, that something about the atmosphere was different, charged, unpredictable, uneasy. Hours before Kirk walked. On stage, one student claims they saw movement on the rooftop. They texted a friend. There's someone up there, I swear it looks like a scope. That message, now viral, reads like a prophecy ignored. Was it paranoia, or was it the warning that could have saved lives? Then came the speech itself. Kirk walked onto the stage with his usual confidence, joking with the audience, pacing back and forth, feeding off their energy. But behind that confidence was a man allegedly warned just days earlier not to appear in Utah. According to leaks circulating online, his team had received an anonymous email reading, "Don't step foot in Utah, they'll be waiting." Once, again, it was brushed off. Once again, it was too late. Because minutes later, the nightmare struck. A shot. A collapse. Panic ripping through the hall like wildfire. And now, with graphic footage flooding the internet, the world isn't just asking how this happened, they're asking why. Why wasn't the rooftop cleared? Why weren't the warnings taken seriously? Why did Kirk, a man who thrived on controversy but lived under constant threat, step into a hall that some insiders are now calling a setup waiting to happen? But here's the truly terrifying part. Whispers are growing louder that Kirk himself suspected this was coming. Some claim his last words before collapsing weren't random. Witnesses insist he mouthed something as security dragged him off stage. Some heard, "I knew it." Others swear he whispered, "Tell them the truth." Whether real or imagined, those words have already taken on a life of their own, fueling conspiracy theories and deepening the fear. Because if Charlie Kirk really knew something was coming, then this wasn't a shocking tragedy. It was a ticking time bomb finally going off, and the bigger question tonight is the one nobody can escape. If Kirk was just the first domino, who else is lined up to fall? The energy inside Utah Valley University's Losi Center was buzzing. Fans packed the seats, their chants echoing, their phones raised, ready to capture every fiery word of Charlie Kirk's American comeback tour. The man himself walked out confident, smiling, and defiant, an image of control, a man who thrived on confrontation. But within minutes, that confidence was replaced by chaos that will haunt America forever. Because then it happened. Bang! The shot cut through the chants, through the cheers, through the stage lights. Kirk jolted violently, his body folding as he clutched at his neck. The microphone dropped. The crowd screamed, and within seconds, the hall became a war zone of panic. Students cried. Parents dragged children to the floor. People tripped and stampeded toward the exits. What was supposed to be another night of fiery speeches turned into a nightmare caught on hundreds of live streams, and those live streams told the story in real time. TikTok feeds exploded with shaky, terrifying clips. You could hear the screams, the cries of, "He's been shot!" and the thunderous rush of thousands scrambling for safety. On Twitter, X, the hashtags #Pray for Charlie and a car crowd panic started trending globally within 10 minutes. Everyone was watching, but no one understood. Was it a protester? A sniper? An accident? Security sprinted to the stage, tackling Kirk to the ground and throwing themselves over him. Witnesses later described seeing blood soaking through his collar as staff tried to stop the bleeding. In the crowd, people shouted, "Shooter! On the roof!" pointing at the Losi Center's rafters. Others swore they saw someone running near the exits. And here's where the story twists. When investigators swept the area, they discovered a black backpack abandoned by a side door. Inside was something that transformed this incident from horrifying to chilling, a note. According to leaks that have since gone viral, the note said, "This is not about politics. This is about power, and he was just the first." That single sentence flipped the narrative. This wasn't a random act, wasn't a lone protester gone too far. This was a message. And if Kirk was just the first, the natural question became, who's next? But that wasn't all the backpack contained. Hidden alongside the note was a folded piece of paper with 3 names written on it. Charlie Kirk's was the first. The other 2, blurred in every leaked photo, withheld from the public. But the rumors spread instantly. Some claimed they belonged to Hollywood celebrities. Others swore they were high-ranking political figures. Hashtags like "The List" and "Who is Next" only fueled the fire. The first twist exploded even harder when an anonymous Twitter account under the handle A Justice for Truth tweeted just minutes after the attack. "The first domino has fallen. This is only the beginning." The account was suspended almost immediately, but not before screenshots spread across every platform. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Charlie Kirk anymore. This was about the possibility of a wider plot, a coordinated wave of violence that could strike anyone, politicians, celebrities, maybe even global leaders. The shooting wasn't just terrifying, it was symbolic. Witnesses swear Kirk's final moments on stage weren't silent. Some insist they saw him mouth the words, "I knew it." Others believe he said, "Tell them the truth," whether real or imagined. Those whispers have already taken on a life of their own, fueling conspiracy theories about whether Kirk knew the attack was coming and refused to back down. And the crowd that night? Their stories have turned into viral sound bites. Students uploaded teary videos saying, "We thought we weren't going to make it out." A mother sobbed on camera, "I covered my son with my body. I thought it was the end." Each clip is a gut punch, spreading fear far beyond Utah. Meanwhile, police radio leaks added more fuel to the fire. One officer allegedly reported, "Possible second shooter, possible accomplices spotted near rear entrance." If true, then this wasn't the work of one gunman. It was a coordinated strike. And then came the rumor that sealed the panic. An insider close to the investigation claimed the backpack also contained maps. Cities like Washington, D.C., New York, and Los Angeles were marked with red X's. Were these future targets, or red herrings planted to spread fear? Either way, the implication was horrifying. Kirk wasn't the only domino. The first domino had fallen. The rest? Still standing, for now. And that's where the story turns from shocking to terrifying. Because if Kirk wasn't the final target, then the chaos we've seen so far is only the beginning. The gunshot may have silenced the hall, but the noise that followed was louder than anything Charlie Kirk has ever faced in his life. Because what happened after he fell, what exploded online, in the streets, and across the world, turned this moment from a tragedy into a global firestorm. Within minutes, TikTok was ablaze. Shaky, horrifying clips of Kirk clutching his neck and stumbling forward were racking up millions of views before his blood even dried. One video, posted by a trembling student whispering, "Oh my God, he's down," hit 10 million views in 30 minutes. Twitter X was no calmer. Hashtags like Pray for Charlie and Crowd Panic were colliding with darker ones like Stage Assassination and False Flag. The footage wasn't just viral, it was violent. Graphic edits slowed down the moment of impact, showing Kirk's body jerk frame by frame. Some users added ominous music, others circled shadows on the rooftop claiming to reveal the shooter. The internet became an army of amateur detectives, each convinced they'd solved the mystery. And then, at 11:42 p.m., the first major leak dropped. A hacker collective known only as the Serpents hijacked a Twitch stream and released a distorted video filled with screenshots. The images allegedly showed email exchanges between Kirk's tour organizers and a private security company. The emails warned of a credible rooftop threat 2 days before the event. The most chilling line read, "Do not escalate. Cancellation is not an option." If true, this meant Kirk's team knew there was danger and pushed forward anyway. The Serpents ended their broadcast with a haunting declaration. Charlie Kirk was never the target. He was the warning. That single line rewrote the narrative, but what truly set the internet ablaze was the reveal of the list. Inside the shooter's abandoned backpack was a folded piece of paper. 3 names. Charlie Kirk was one. The other 2 blurred in every leaked photo. But rumors spread like wildfire. Some swore they saw Taylor Swift faintly visible. Others insisted one of the names belonged to a sitting U.S. senator. Hashtags like "The List" and "Who is Next" dominated feeds, turning speculation into hysteria. Celebrities poured gasoline on the fire. Cardi B went live on Instagram, visibly furious. "This is not funny. Y'all sharing memes when a man is fighting for his life." Her emotional rant hit 500,000 live viewers. Kanye West posted a cryptic black screen with the words, "The dominoes are falling." Elon Musk chimed in with, "Security at public events is fundamentally broken." But 50 Cent lit the biggest fuse when he posted a split screen of Kirk speaking and collapsing with the caption, "When you play too loud, somebody hits mute. Damn." His comments exploded into a battlefield of outrage, conspiracy, and curiosity. And then, another twist. At 1:15 a.m., a grainy dark web video surfaced, quickly mirrored to TikTok and YouTube. A masked figure sat in silence, then held up a placard with 3 words, "The list grows." Behind him, barely visible, was the outline of what looked like the U.S. Capitol. The clip ended with coordinates flashing on the screen, coordinates pointing directly to Washington, D.C. Suddenly, this wasn't about Kirk anymore. This was about something much bigger. FBI insiders allegedly told reporters off the record, "This isn't ideology, this is chaos. They don't want power, they want collapse." And then came the final blow, the so-called manifesto fragment, posted on Reddit and quickly shared. Across every platform, the fragment contained one bone-chilling line. Stage 1, silence the speaker. Stage 2, silence the world. If this was genuine, then Kirk wasn't the final target. He was only the opening act. Now the entire country is on edge. Vigils are met with counter-protests. Celebrities are beefing up security. Politicians are canceling appearances. And fans everywhere are asking the same terrifying question. If Charlie Kirk was the first domino, who's next? The shock of the gunshot may have sent people fleeing from the Losi Center, but what unfolded in the hours that followed sent shockwaves far beyond Utah, across America, across Hollywood, across politics, and into the very heart of public trust. The first reactions came from the ground. Hundreds of supporters rushed to Utah Valley Hospital, many of them still shaken, their clothes torn from the stampede. They lit candles, held up posters saying, "Charlie, don't quit on us," and sang hymns outside the emergency room. One young man sobbed on a live stream, "He fought for us, now we have to fight for him." That clip went viral, turning into a rallying cry for his supporters. But just blocks away, counter-protesters had gathered too. Some held signs reading, "One less voice of hate." Others mocked the tragedy with chants. Videos of both groups screaming at each other with only police lines in between looped on news broadcasts, showing the raw division of a country that couldn't even unite in the face of violence. Online, the split was even uglier. TikTok feeds were full of sobbing fans begging for prayers, but also filled with dark edits mocking the moment Kirk collapsed. Twitter became a battlefield. Under "Shocker Pray for Charlie," supporters shared Bible verses and demanded justice. Under Soccer's stage assassination, conspiracy theorists accused Kirk of faking the shooting to boost his influence. One viral tweet read, "Funny how cameras caught every angle but not the shooter. Wake up." Millions liked and shared it. Celebrities weighed in with firepower. Cardi B screamed on Instagram Live, "This ain't no fucking game. Y'all laughing? A man is bleeding." Her raw anger was clipped and replayed by CNN. Kanye West dropped a cryptic post. "The dominoes fall when the hands push them." Elon Musk tweeted, "If you think this ends with Charlie, you're not paying attention." And then came the most shocking response. Taylor Swift's team released a statement saying, "Taylor is safe, enhanced. Security protocols are in place." They never mentioned the rumored list, but the timing only intensified speculation. Fans lost it. Swifties trended "Protect Taylor" worldwide. Paparazzi photos of black SUVs outside her Nashville home were reposted thousands of times. If her name really was on that list, then this story had jumped from politics to pop culture in a single leap. Politicians were no quieter. Senator Ted Cruz thundered, "This is political terrorism, plain and simple. They are trying to silence us with bullets." Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez countered with, "No matter how much we disagree with someone's politics, violence is never the answer. This is unacceptable." President Biden addressed the nation, calling the shooting a horrific act of violence that cannot define who we are. But the unity ended there. Across Washington, whispers began about who might be next. Senators suddenly canceled public events. Security around the Capitol doubled overnight. The rumor of a sitting senator's name being on that backpack list spread like wildfire, and the silence from officials only made the fear worse. The entertainment industry scrambled. Venues across the country canceled political events. Several music tours, including Billie Eilish's upcoming shows, announced sweeping new security measures. Hollywood studios quietly delayed politically charged films, worried about the optics. And brands? They couldn't resist stepping in. Nike tweeted "Stand Strong" and was accused of clout chasing. Starbucks trended after a rumor spread that a barista refused service to someone in a Pray for Charlie shirt. Netflix suspended the release of a political documentary, citing sensitivity to national events. And then came the reactions inside Kirk's own circle. Steve Bannon, furious, ranted on his live stream. Charlie wasn't the last, he was the first. This was a declaration of war, and the war is just starting. His words spread like wildfire, fueling fear and outrage. Was he being dramatic, or did he know something? But perhaps the most chilling reaction came from the FBI, or rather, their silence. While they confirmed they were investigating, they refused to comment on the list. The note, or the backpack, maps allegedly marking cities like Washington, New York, and Los Angeles. That silence became its own answer. To millions, it felt like confirmation that something bigger was brewing, something the public wasn't ready to hear. The world wasn't just reacting. It was bracing. Celebrities hired more bodyguards. Politicians canceled events. Fans prayed while critics mocked. And America, already divided, found itself split deeper than ever. Because now, with Charlie Kirk fighting for his life and the whispers of a growing list looming, the fear isn't just about what already happened. The fear is about what happens next. Just when it seemed the frenzy couldn't possibly get darker, the story detonated with one final twist that left the nation paralyzed. Because remember that list in the backpack? Up until now, only one name was confirmed: Charlie Kirk. The other two had been blurred in leaks, whispered about but never revealed. But late last night, a blurred screenshot began circulating on Reddit, one that looked clearer than before. And this time, one name was visible: Taylor Swift. The screenshot spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of panic and disbelief. If real, it meant the world's biggest pop star was allegedly on the same hit list as Kirk. Fans couldn't process it. Swifties flooded Twitter with "Protect Taylor," demanding answers. Paparazzi caught fleets of black SUVs outside her Nashville home. Security barricades were thrown up overnight. The image of Swift possibly being tied to this plot transformed the shooting from a political scandal into a global crisis. But the twist didn't end there. According to an alleged whistleblower from within the investigation, the second blurred name wasn't a celebrity at all. It was a sitting U.S. senator. The source wouldn't say who, but hinted it was someone influential enough to cause a constitutional crisis if targeted. Suddenly, Washington insiders were canceling appearances, citing security concerns. Reporters began combing through Senate schedules, noting abrupt changes. Was the senator Democrat? Republican? Theories exploded, but no one had confirmation. And then came the most chilling part of all: the third name. In every leak, it remained blurred, unreadable. Some claim it was deliberately concealed by officials to prevent total hysteria. Others insist the name belongs to someone untouchable, someone global, someone whose death would shake not just America, but the entire world. Elon Musk? A world leader? Even the Pope? The speculation grew wilder by the minute, feeding paranoia. As if that wasn't terrifying enough, another dark web video surfaced. The same masked figure from before sat in shadow, holding up a placard. 3 words again. The list grows. Behind him this time, faintly visible, was the outline of the US Capitol. The clip ended with a single sentence, distorted but unmistakable. You will understand stage 2. That sentence ripped through social media like a blade. Because if stage 1 was silencing Charlie Kirk, then what was stage 2? And who, God forbid, was next? The FBI refused comment, but their silence only